Honey Sound Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Bilko Media Network. Honey Sound Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Bilko Media Network.
So, if you have time, I do want to ask you. I don't know if you've watched Elon Musk give his little Mars speech.
I have not seen it, but I was going to ask if you heard about his super lifter or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So I watched the entire thing, Bill, and there is something that is not being discussed that is actually rather important.
Then maybe I should watch it too, and we can do one of these reviews.
Well, I'll spoil it for you.
All
I'll
right.
spoil it. All right. So this thing is this Mars colonial transporter, as Elon calls it. I would not go up in it. Well, until it was at like the point where it was an airplane. Okay, in terms of reliability and safety, because in an airplane, right, you kind of accept that airplanes are kind of a different thing, because you do have, ultimately, it's active control that moves you around the sky and lets you, land correctly and all that stuff. But there is some wiggle room in an airplane with, like, passive control. You lose both engines, you've got 30,000 feet to glide down. That's a good long way. That's 100 miles. You can kind of figure out what you're going to do. Okay. So most spacecraft, and just really most craft, have some form of passive escape system, i.e., I hit a big red button that says I'm not going to space today, and then part of my ship comes apart from the other ship, and I'm in the part that has a parachute, and I float down and whatever. And basically, once I hit that button, I don't have to do anything anymore. All right. And the automatic safety systems engage and take care of me. So, for Apollo and SpaceX's is only, Falcon ship, they have like emergency abort systems, where if you're on the launch pad and the vehicle starts exploding, well then you just like jet on out of there and you're fine. Like when you hit that escape button, you come down by parachute. The Mars Colonial Transporter, for 100 people.
Right.
You're not bringing 100-man ship that's going at suborbital velocity down safely with parachutes, because the thing is, the second stage of the ship is meant to land under its own power. It uses propulsive power to land, so it comes down
like his retestable.
Yes. So in order to land this thing, you have to have working engines. So if you send this thing up there, okay, it doesn't have the first stage of this ship does not have the power to push the second stage to orbit. So if any point during the rocket launch, if the second stage engine fails, Elon Musk has just sent a bomb with 100 people on board, careening somewhere towards Africa or the Atlantic Ocean to die. To hit the water or to hit Africa at like 300-400 miles an hour. Yeah, that's that.
What you're saying is that there's no plan B here.
There's no plan B, Bill. There's no plan B. If they hit second stage go and they hit that button a couple times and nothing happens, they better start putting their wills together, because they're all dead. Those 100 people are dead in 3 or 4 or 7 minutes or whatever it is. So, that's that you know that. By the way, I've heard people who were involved in the shuttle program say that's basically what happened to the Challenger. All right, everybody in the Challenger was probably alive until they hit the water. But it was all that was left of the spaceship was like the front end of the Columbia. There wasn't anything. There was no engines. There was no, So that's what Hey, that's a preview of if anything goes wrong with this. Everybody just sold all their houses and bikes and cars and shit to go to Mars, and then dump them straight in the ocean. So anyway, that was my small flaw that I saw in the presentation that was never addressed. So
that's why we need space elevators.
I know, right? That would be the ultimately the one to do.
What do you think about Mars One? Any opinion on that? Because it will never work.
Oh my God!
Somehow they're still planning to do this. I don't know.
Oh, they're just silly, unless HTML pages can take you to space, Mars One is not going anywhere. Because
Tristan, they narrowed down the field to like the top 80 candidates or something.
Oh yeah, and they're gonna start training any day now. Just send us a little more money. Buy some more Mars One T-shirts. They're not even worthy of. They're just frauds. I think. But there in other rocket news though, you heard about Blue Origin and Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
and they're
trying to beat Elon Musk at his own game, I guess.
And that was another thing that I was just like, I raised my eyebrows because I feel like Jeff Bezos is now just trying to have a rocket dick measuring contest. But he better watch out in that regard because he said something really so that most of the rocket's energy is spent, like the vast majority, 90% of it,
getting an inch off the ground or whatever.
is getting it to move sideways, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then only 10% really is like to take care of like the 60 miles from here up to space. Most of it is just to put you in orbit, is to go sideways and burn sideways as fast as you could. Jeff Bezos tweeted whatever when the SpaceX thing landed for the first time. Bezos had actually kind of made history earlier by the Blue Origin has like a very tiny kind of like a tourist shuttle that's like a tiny rocket that goes up and down. It's just a grasshopper kind of thing, and it's basically only for space tourism, right? Or only for near space tourism. You pay, a couple $100,000. You go up in this thing, you see space for a little bit, for about 5 minutes, you experience some weightlessness, and you come back down. Jeff Bezos tweeted, "Oh, glad to see you could finally join the reentry club." After SpaceX put a rocket in orbital velocity, and I should say not orbital velocity, but in almost orbital velocity, and then re-landed it, which is, you're talking at something that's landing. It's not even the same, it's just not even. Really does not.
Right, because I heard all about how Bezos did it 3 times before Elon could because Musk had like 4 failed attempts or something like that where it like missed the boat.
Yeah, it was it was something like that, and there was a couple where like it hit and then it tipped over.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but you know, like um, it's kind of like if you had like an electric scooter that could somehow pick up and go faster than like a Mustang, but like that my scooter was it's
He's not in
yeah,
the same league as what you're talking.
it's just not in the same league. It's not in the same league. Like Bezos has a glorified weather balloon, you know, compared to Elon Musk. That you know, like, all you could probably do what Bezos is doing with a giant balloon. You know, that's you don't really 100% need a rocket in order to do that. So yeah, like I feel like thou doth protest too much, and now, before and I don't know, maybe they got wind that Elon Musk was gonna prepare a TED talk, but they kind of just threw this out there out of nowhere that they were building their only rocket is called the New Shepard, and
Mhm.
there is the New Glenn, so
Yeah,
Glenn Shepard, American astronauts, right?
right.
Anyways, the New Glenn is supposed to be, they're they're basically going from what I would consider an RC airplane to a fighter to an F-35. Right. That's what they say they're doing. All right. They say that they're gonna go from this little rinky-dink sounding rocket that goes up and comes back down. They're gonna go from that to something that's like 3 times the thrust or like 2 times the thrust of the Saturn V. And I'm just
Oh yeah,
like,
I did see that. Yeah, I remember.
yeah.
I remember that graph.
I was like, oh, okay, so what hardware do you have? Oh, we don't have anything. Oh, okay. I think they have like one of the engines, which is something, but SpaceX has got like, uh, sorry, SpaceX has got NASA contracts. That's what really matters, you know. So
Mhm.
NASA contracts, you know, lots of experience actually re-entering and that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it seems a whole lot like the Lockheed Martin
Hold on,
fusion.
hold on. I just looked up their wiki page, and in their little, thing on the side that talks about the company, their slogan, and what you just explained makes perfect sense. Their slogan is actually some Latin word I can't really say, but the English translation is "step by step ferociously."
Step by step ferociously.
Yes,
It's not step by step when you go from when you go from the RC to the F-35.
that's the
It's not.
ferociously piece.
That is that is pretty ferocious. If that's the next step, then we're just gonna then Jeff Bezos is just gonna put an engine like pointing down and move the Earth around. You know, if we're gonna make one more step up from that, I don't. Yeah. So they, yeah, they. Uh, I'd like to see it. That's what I say. The I don't know what you should what you should do. What you should check out is you should check out the tank, the fuel tank on this rocket.
The
That
Glen or the other one?
no, the M MCT thing. They've actually built
Oh,
they've got an engine where they've got a working engine and they've got a fuel tank. And you need to look at the fuel tank because it's unreal. It's like I don't know how many meters across. Probably like 9 meters across. It's
oh, I
like
think I saw a picture of there's like a couple of people standing next to it.
Yes, it's this giant. It looks like a water tower.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. Like, it's a water tower that's going to space. Yeah.
Pancake. They're
Pancake.
taking the pancake approach.
They just, if they only knew the way of the pancake.
Should start our own company. Call it Pancake.
There we go. I like that.
I always wondered, like, how much would it be to send like a little bitty drone to like the moon?
I don't know.
Like, you think you have these like little mini rockets, right, that people play with as like a hobby? What's the smallest rocket you need to send a tiny little like drone to the moon?
What's the smallest thing you need to send a something to the moon?
Because obviously, like, when you think about like the Apollo missions, they were big because you were sending a lot of equipment up there. You're sending whole people. But now that we live in the age of robotics, you don't need people anymore. You can send up, tiny little things. So I'm just wondering, like, for a few grand or more, could you theoretically build your own rocket to the moon? Is that within reach for the common man, or is that just not even theoretically possible?
No, it's not. I mean, you still see the problem really is that like you're like trapped at the bottom of atmosphere and a gravity well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just need a big rocket, period, to punch anything through, because in order, like, you have basically it goes down to, yeah, your payload can shrink considerably, but still, like, a lot of the Saturn V was to lift the fuel that was in the Saturn V, to lift the fuel that was in the Saturn V, to lift the fuel that was. So, that's really your problem.
Could we
Is that it's going to
theoretically?
end up being about like a 30-foot tall thing, almost no matter if you put a grain of sand as the payload.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you theoretically then take the pancake approach with just toy rockets and just have like 10,000 toy rockets like bundled together?
Okay, so XKCD actually answered this, where they said, how many bottle rockets would it take you to get into orbit?
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact answer, but it was a lot. And yeah, so, well, here's your litmus test. All right, Bill. So, is whatever engine or motor I'm sticking on this thing, can I put enough energy through that to make my payload, or make my thing go 7 kilometers per second? Can I make it do that? If I can make it do that, then yes, you now have you can start talking about getting to the moon, because that's just low Earth orbit, right? So 7 kilometers per second, that's what you need to make. So, like, there's no amount of bottle rockets or SDs, like model rocket engines or whatever, that can put you at 7 clicks per second.
Right,
There's
it
no.
really comes down to a matter of speed then, versus power, and
It really is all just speed. It's all just speed. And realistically, solid fuel is not going to get you there.
No.
So you need. So basically, at the time, at the point now that you've kind of, like you sat down and your amateur rocketry, are at the Oklahoma Space Center, right? Sat down at the Oklahoma Space Center and you said, all right, okay, well, Farmer Dan wants to get to space or wants to send his kids a picture from the moon. So he goes together and he sits at his workshop and he starts planning, and tries to make the cheapest thing. And then eventually he just kind of winds up building the Saturn V because that's what he has to build anyway.
So that is that is the minimum
Yes,
rocket you need to get to the moon.
that is the minimum you need to get to the moon. Now, obviously, it can shrink down, and I think that in my clip, the Chinese rocket that I show, I think that was the moon lander. So, I mean, it's like stuff that could get you to stuff that can get a human to low Earth orbit can get a probe to the moon. I'll put it that way. That makes sense?
Yeah. Because I've seen like GoPro videos where people like send up their GoPro and they reach like black space.
Yes.
But I guess that's nowhere near what you need to do to get to the moon.
So they don't reach space. They reach 12 miles, I think, up, which is about a fifth of the way to space. So, I mean, they're higher than airplanes. But they're.
Well, I've seen it with like you see the blackness of space, so they're up above our atmosphere.
Well, I mean, technically yes, and technically no. I mean, you could make some debate on the atmosphere never really ends,
True.
But 5, or I should say 12 miles up is not out of the atmosphere. I think the accepted definition is like 100 kilometers, 60 miles. So once you're past that, you're officially in space, but even the ISS, which is like about 4 times, 5 times higher than that, that still has to occasionally even reboost itself into a higher orbit, just occasionally, because they hit these stray oxygen atoms, or whatever, and it slows them down. So space is 60 miles.
Guess we'll just have to create some anti-gravity.
Yeah, right. So one thing that is kind of cool is that they're going to test out this thing called the EmDrive. I don't know if you've heard about this
No, I
at
don't
all.
think so.
Okay, so anytime that people come up to you, and say, "Hey, I've made a perpetual motion machine," okay, you always
like my dam idea where you pump the water through the electric pump and you just use that electricity to pump it back, and oh my god, you have all this extra electricity to push the houses.
There we go. Yay! So yeah, that, right.
But they have those. That's the thing I don't understand. Those exist.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's not perpetual energy machine. So
it's not the same, but whatever.
Yes. So the kind of, I think, holy grail / space flight, or at least the space flight equivalent of the perpetual motion machine is the reactionless drive, right? It's something that you can just turn on, and without any propellant, without anything, it will just move. Like Star Trek, right? They're not shooting anything at the back of that ship. It's just moving along and whatever. So there's this thing called the EmDrive, which is a cavity. Basically, it just looks like a cone. All it does is looks like a bell, like a kind of a regular rocket nozzle. Not really a regular rocket nozzle bell, because it's like it's flat on both sides, not curved. But it and this is the part that makes me feel stupid whenever I'm discussing this thing. is that as far as I can tell, like I just cannot figure out what is going on here, and how, and a lot of people I guess can't, but apparently if you pump electricity into this thing, it'll generate thrust. Okay? And there's no moving parts. No moving parts, no propellant,
So it's like
electricity for
like an electric motor, but for space travel.
yes. Yes. So,
It's called the
it
EmDrive.
yeah,
Oh,
EM
EmDrive.
drive. Yeah. So the thing here is that it takes, kilowatts of power and outputs, micronewtons of thrust. Okay? So very, very small amount of thrust, but when you're in space, like, that doesn't matter.
Right.
If you
Given
can
enough
get,
time.
yes, yes. So how this is a thing, like, like, I just I want to angrily shout at the M drive if it works, because it's one of those things that you think that it shouldn't. You wouldn't expect to cut a hole in a soup can and then hook a solar cell up to it and imagine it would whiz around the room. Why the hell should this thing work? Yeah, like, this is something that I'm gonna look it up because I'm doing a terrible job probably or describing this M drive.
It's a reversal. It's a reverse electric engine. It says, which makes sense if you think about it. Because instead of an explosion causing something to create electricity, it's going backwards.
NASA's first test, all right, here we go. The net mean thrust over 5 runs is measured at 91.2 micronewtons at 17 watts of power. This screams for nuke. All right, you need a nuke. You need a nuclear plant in space in order to.
Oh, you're talking about a nuclear-powered rocket.
Yes. Well, no, I'm talking about a. Well, I mean that could mean a couple of different things, but
Because
what I would.
if you're going through the trouble of having a nuclear reactor, why don't you just have a nuclear-powered engine?
Well, because you don't really want to, crap radioactive isotopes all over Earth's upper atmosphere, when
Well, yeah, but you still gotta.
you're
If you gotta
jet
create the
setting around.
electricity for this thing to work, well, you might as well just stick with the straight conventional engine, right?
Right, but this is clean. You just have to generate the electricity for this. Yeah, if your reactor blows up, then you got a problem. But like, if everything is sticking together, especially if you're going on like a outside of the Earth's or not Earth's solar system, but now the Earth's orbit, you know, um, like it's and, but the thing is, the nuclear rockets today, like, are inferior to this because anything is inferior to a reactionless drive. If you can,
But
like,
hold on, you still have to create the electricity somewhere.
right, right, but you could do that. You would do that in the reactor,
The nuclear reactor.
the nuclear reactor, right? So, like, yeah, you
How is
would.
that different from a nuclear-powered engine?
So a nuclear powered engine contains propellant, right? What it uses the nuclear reaction to heat up the propellant and then shoot
Oh,
it out the
I didn't
back.
know that. I
You
thought
know,
they took the
so
nuclear energy and did the same kind of thing where they turned it
no,
into thrust somehow.
no, no, no. I mean that's how they turn it into thrust, right? Is they heat up stuff and then they throw it out the back. But
So you still have like a fuel tank.
yeah, you still have fuel tank, you still have propellant, and this doesn't. So obviously, like, that's the if you put a nuclear reactor on this thing and this M drive thing works, once you stick something up in space, it can stay up there forever and it can go anywhere forever.
Right.
It's just gonna take them a while to get there. So the problem is that the thrust is so small, it's hard to measure.
Right.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how this works, if it works.
Well, I'm seeing NASA researchers studying in 2014 achieved 1/1000th of the force originally claimed. But that's still a net positive.
You keep on seeing like factors of like being off by like factors of like 1,000 or like it shouldn't be bouncing around like that, like that just tells me that like there's a lot of experimental maybe issues going on. Here we go. Mechanisms and hypotheses. There are no known physical mechanisms for such thrusters to work. They have been studied because two inventors claimed to have working models. However, those models have not worked in public, and those inventors have also proposed no physical mechanism for their functions. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. That like I'm just like, what the fuck speculated that a resonant cavities may operate by creating a virtual plasma toroid that can realize net thrust using magnetohydrodynamic forces acting upon a quantum vacuum fluctuation, which just sounds like bullshit. But I could be wrong. That just sounds like so much bullshit. I mean, but there is stuff out there that where you have quantum mechanics that has a macroscopic effect. If you're on the Wikipedia page, you should check out the Casimir effect sometime.
Like the song?
No, it's just yeah, that's
with
it.
the C.
Yeah, Casimir. No, not Kashmir. No.
That's what I thought you said.
No, Casimir effect. It's basically like if you hold two plates together, like thin plates, they'll start to pull each other together, because of virtual particles popping in and out of existence. But because you've got a plane, and a surface on one area that can only pop in to existence in the gap. And I don't know. I'd have to read into it later, but it's an interesting read. It basically, if you stick two plates together, quantum mechanics will create a pressure on them that will like suck them together. Yeah. So the EmDrive, right? That's pretty cool. It's an interesting, interesting concept, but there's no reason why there shouldn't be where there should be a soup can that will fly around space for no propellant. I don't see it. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, because what actually causes the thrust?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's better than nothing. You say you're sticking energy into this, but like, maybe you're just giving off heat and that's causing something to move around. Anyway, so yeah, good review. Elon Musk sending hundreds of colonists to their watery graves.
Well, when I was looking up, I saw Mars One plans to use the SpaceX rockets, and so.
Oh, do they?
Guess who's probably going to be the first ones to die?
Yeah.
The Mars One.
Like, I don't think. I know. I don't think that like SpaceX would like let them go. Like, I don't think SpaceX would like put them.
They're not coming back.
Because they're not coming back. Like, it would look bad. I feel.
That's the thing. Like, what idiot do you have that's willing to just leave everything behind and go to Mars for the rest of their life? Like, you're already not right in the head if you think that's a good idea. So, I'm baffled by their selection process of who they're actually going after. But it will even never come to that point anyway, so.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't even understand, like, so they're selecting people now, but they're not even going to launch. I mean, their original date was like 2022, which will never happen. But I think they're now back to like 2034 or something. So, okay, so we're like 15 years away from the potential launch of sending you guys. What are these people doing now? I mean, are they like locked into this training facility for the next 15 years, or because they're sourcing people from all over the world? So are they like bringing their families to like this secret location in the Alps or something for the next 15 years? Like, I don't understand how this whole thing works.
I'll give you a crash course. It doesn't. It's a scam. It's not real. And I mean, do you wanna have a space company just like Mars One? All right, me, you, Bill, we're gonna have Mars Two. All right, we are now that we have said me, you, or Bill, we're gonna do Mars Two, and we're going to go to Mars. Let's say in 2082. All right, yeah, that's all right. That's the ticket. Yeah. All right. Now, guess what, Bill? We have as much of a plan and as much hardware as Mars One does
Right,
now.
exactly, because they were gonna fund this by like a documentary or something, and it's like, how are you
No,
gonna raise
it was supposed to be a
enough money?
reality TV show. It was supposed to be a
Yeah,
reality TV show on the way to Mars. The fuck?
I don't. Yeah, it's like, who's paying for that? Where are
Yeah.
you? There's a great discrepancy between the funds you need and the funds you'll actually get.
It's a scam. It was actually a big long write up on, I think, somebody from the New Yorker who interviewed someone who was, actually bought into it, and basically, like, they talked to him, and like, they got him real pumped, and then they stopped answering his phone calls. Like, so like that, I mean, that's what it is. This is the spaceship equivalent of No Man's Sky. Oh, it's gonna be so amazing. Just gonna be so amazing when we get there. It's like,
So is this a giant like punk show? Like they're gonna train them up for all these years, and then put them in this non-rocket rocket, and then surprise, you're not really going to Mars because we were kidding the whole time.
I mean, make more sense, you know?
A lot cheaper.
Yeah.
You ruined your lives for nothing.
Yay!
I just pulled up the wiki page to see where they're actually at here, and it says their plan by the end of the year is to narrow it down to 40 people, and they currently have 100.
So, I've been following Mars One for quite some time. They've been narrowing it down for 40 people for like the last 4 years. All right.
Well, it says their initial plan was to get to that state in 2015. So they're only a year off from their original
Oh, are
plan.
they? Okay.
However, the first colonists in the original plan was supposed to land in 2023. It is now slated for 2027. And it's slipping on out.
Yep.
Because their next milestone is launching a communication satellite to Mars in 2020. Like, why are they even doing this to begin with? But it says they got a contract with Lockheed Martin to make it happen.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Like, I'm sorry. This, you can't sell enough Mars One trucker hats to pay off the 20 million or so it's going to take you to buy.
From Mars? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Think about this, Bill. All right. So think about how many T-shirts and paid people we'd have to scam, and everything just to get an $80,000 CubeSat in orbit around it, right? So like a dumb CubeSat, no communication. No, well, I would have communication, I think, maybe, but you know, probably one directional, because you've got to buy time on a radio telescope in order to, to get any sort of uplink downlink with Mars. They don't have that. They don't have the money to put something in a CubeSat in low Earth orbit, much less their own communication satellite in orbit around Mars. And I'm sorry, if you're legitimate, if you're like actually, a player in the game, you can, I mean, just piggyback off of what NASA already has up there, and ask very nicely. Don't send your own, anyway.
Yeah, the whole concept is just whacked. And I remember when I first heard about this back in 2011 or whenever they first announced it. I'm like, that will never work. They will never get off the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on the website right now. It's so great. If you ever go into like, if you ever click on shit on the website like about like information or whatever, it's just like, 3 paragraphs about how Mars has like an atmosphere that you can't breathe, and for more information, go to Wikipedia. Like, oh, I wonder what the Mars One community is all about.
The community. The 100 Club. Is that the people?
I don't know. Follow Mars on social media.
Are these all the idiots who signed up to go?
Yes. Mars One Twitter. I'll see if that's a thing. Oh, wait. Are they still going? Are they still tweeting?
Probably.
9 hours ago.
Probably. It's still an active thing. What does their Twitter say about them? What's the latest? If a hacker,
my
if
God,
a hacker proves to be a great team player, he could make the cut. What?
Oh my God. They're appearing on CNN.
We advise the first crew members not attempt to have children for several reasons. Ooh, they have a job vacancy. You can apply to work for them. I noticed the dude who started all of this is not going.
Yeah, that's because the whole point is that you go on Mars and you die there.
We believe Mars needs a workforce, not tourists. Our goal is to build a permanent human settlement.
Mars needs slaves.
You know what people haven't really talked about?
Down. What?
Is the whole concept of how, like, Mars is only like 60% of Earth's gravity. So, what does that do to your body over time?
I don't know.
Because it's not like you can induce artificial gravity like you can in, like, a space station or something.
Right. So, like, microgravity, or microgravity really is, I mean, no gravity, weightlessness, right? But
Right.
but reduced gravity, there haven't been lots of long-term studies on that.
Yeah, there haven't.
Yeah,
That's
so,
what I mean, because like everyone's like, oh, we got to go colonize Mars. That's our plan B. But like, nobody's really touched on what that does to you.
Yeah. So.
Because what's the record for being like in a space station? Like 2 years?
About that.
And obviously the dude came back to Earth, but he was having so much trouble readjusting. I mean, obviously these fools aren't coming back if they actually even ever make it, but still, it's like, what is that? The human body is not meant for 60% Earth gravity.
No.
For any long extended period of time, so I'm just wondering what that means for not only obviously Mars 1, but future human settlements on Earth or on Mars if we ever get to that point. or anywhere else for that matter.
Yeah. I'd say that. I'd say that it's gonna mean better than micro. I mean, because if you can survive in microgravity, you could probably survive. It'd be better probably in reduced gravity. And heck, it's probably, you could probably see something like a Mars retirement community kind of thing going, where well, I'm serious, climate controlled, hypoallergenic, reduced gravity, reduced, well, I mean, they're probably gonna stick something underground, everything underground, so.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, is that, Mars doesn't have a magnetic field like the
No,
Earth
yeah,
does.
it doesn't.
So, we don't like really have a ton of protection from cosmic ray shit there.
Mhm.
So, well, I mean, I should say, nothing protecting you against gamma rays, but like the charged particles, right?
Right, all the
they're
radiation and stuff.
yeah, that's still hitting you. So, you're probably, if you live on Mars, you're probably just gonna have all the things that I see, pictures I see, are like habitats. They're like these fancy sci-fi tents that you kind of prop up on the surface. But if you're gonna make a permanent settlement, you're gonna dig. You're gonna dig underground, and you're gonna be like,
Right, because I mean, like
and
Mars has some violent weather too. You'll be all.
actually, no, it doesn't. Like, that's another thing it has. So
What? I thought it had all those like dust storms and everything that gets
yeah, so
really windy.
so you saw The Martian, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, all right. It does have dust storms, but like the pressure is so low that like wind can't hurt you if it's at .01 ATMs. Like, no amount of wind, a gale force wind is not going to hurt you. If it's only 100th of an atmosphere. So, yeah, I think Mars One is just one of those things that are like, oh God, it's a scam. It's such a scam. But I can't, like, apparently, I'm just reading their Twitter feed. Apparently, they put like a whole bunch of people in isolation. So, I mean,
they're still attempting to try to save face, but I don't think they'll ever get to any sort of launch, whether that be sending humans out or that stupid satellite that they claim they need in 2020.
yeah, you're right. I mean, we know what's going on. Mars One, it's a scam.
This has been a presentation of Honey Sound Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Bilko Media Network. This has been a presentation of Honey Sound Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Bilko Media Network.